You're messing this up right now, and you probably don't even see it. You talk to girls, you go on dates, maybe you text a few every now and then, but the way you move, the way you talk, the way you handle small moments is quietly pushing them away instead of pulling them in. And because no one ever actually explains this stuff to guys in a clear way, it feels random. One girl seems into you, another suddenly pulls back, another just doesn't feel the spark. So you end up thinking it's your face, your height, your money, whatever. But most of the time, it's your habits. Girls notice small details way more than you think. They pay attention to how you open a door, how you smell, how your texts feel, how you handle that silent moment right before a kiss. All of that adds up. You might think you're doing fine because you're not doing anything wrong on purpose, but from her side, it feels off. It feels either too nice, too desperate, too boring, too unsure, or too rough. So that's what I want to fix. I want you to stop doing the things that quietly kill attraction and start doing the things girls are secretly hoping you'll do but will never say out loud. And once you get these down and you repeat them, it doesn't just make girls like you more, it makes you move through the world with more confidence because you know what you're doing. All right, let's go through it step by step. First, you have to understand this thing people like to call chivalry. Most guys either go way too hard with it or ignore it completely. They think it means acting like a servant, buying everything, saying yes to everything, and trying to impress her with grand gestures. That is not what actually works in real life. Girls like respect and effort, but they don't want a guy who feels like he's auditioning to be their assistant. What they secretly love is quiet, sneaky chivalry, small actions that show you're tuned in. For example, when you're walking into a place, you naturally step ahead just enough to open the door for her. You don't announce it, you don't make a big show of it. You're just aware of it, you move your hand, you hold the door, she walks in, and you keep going. It's simple, but it says a lot about how you treat people and how you treat her. Same thing when you're walking down the street. If there's traffic on one side, you position yourself closer to the cars and let her walk on the inside. You don't explain why, you don't brag about protecting her, you just do it. She will notice. Most girls will never bring it up, but they feel safer and more cared for around guys who think like this. It's not about pretending you're some kind of action hero. It's about showing that you pay attention and you're not only thinking about yourself. There are tons of little moments like this. When you're going up a staircase or an escalator, you walk behind her, so if she trips, you can catch her. When you're going down, you walk in front. If you're crossing a crowded place, you move first and gently guide her through instead of just walking and letting people bump into her. When you sit down somewhere, you pick a seat where she doesn't have the sun in her eyes or the loudspeaker right over her head. None of this is dramatic, it's just basic care. Now, the mistake a lot of guys make is they mix this kind of behavior with over-the-top compliments. They think chivalry means opening doors, paying for everything, and then constantly saying she's beautiful every 5 minutes. That gets old really fast. Compliments only feel good when they're rare and honest. If you're praising every small thing she does, it doesn't feel real anymore. So instead, you keep it simple. If she shows up and she clearly put effort into her outfit or her hair, you can say something like that you like it. You say it once, you mean it, and then you move on and act normal. You don't follow her around with compliments. You don't text 10 heart eye emojis every time she sends a picture. That doesn't make her feel valued. It makes you look like you're trying to buy her attention with words. Another part of sneaky chivalry is how you handle small practical things. If you're out and it's cold, you notice she's shivering and you suggest going inside somewhere warmer. If it's raining, you walk her under the side of the umbrella that actually blocks more rain. If she's in heels and there's a rough patch of ground, you slow down so she doesn't have to rush. You're not trying to parent her or control her, you're just aware of what's going on. And all of this works so well because it shows you have your eyes open. You're not glued to your phone. You're not only thinking about your angle. You're tuned into the moment and into her. That's attractive. That's what a lot of guys miss. They think being attractive is only about looks or money, but a big part of it is how you make people feel when they're around you. Now let's talk about something way less glamorous but way more important, how fresh you are. If you want girls to feel drawn to you, you cannot be lazy about hygiene. You can be the funniest guy in the world, but if she gets close to you and your breath or your body smells bad, it's over. She will never say it to your face. She will just get busy or not be feeling it. So you need to treat basic hygiene like the foundation. Shower every day. Not a quick rinse where you barely touch the soap. Actually wash your body, especially your armpits, feet, and private areas. Use deodorant, not sometimes, but every day. If you sweat a lot, carry a small travel deodorant in your bag or car so you can reapply. Take care of your breath. Brush your teeth twice a day, floss, and if you know you're about to see a girl, don't eat something super strong like garlic and then go straight to her without doing anything. Your hair matters too. Keep it clean and actually styled in a way that looks intentional. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it should not look like you rolled out of bed and just hoped it works. The same goes for facial hair. If you have a beard or stubble, keep the lines clean around your neck and cheeks. A messy neckline or random patches of hair can make you look unkempt, even if the rest of your style is decent. Pay attention to the details most guys ignore. Trim your nails. Clip them before they get long and dirty. Girls notice hands a lot. They notice if your fingers are clean when you touch their face or hold their hand. Clean under your nails. Use a bit of moisturizer if your hands are extremely dry or cracked. These are small things, but they signal that you take care of yourself. Then there's body hair. You don't have to shave everything, but trimming really helps. If you have a lot of hair on your chest, stomach, or back, keeping it trimmed can make your body look more defined and less wild. Around your groin, keeping things neat makes you look more put together and also more hygienic. You don't need to go into extreme detail, just keep it tidy. Use tools made for body hair so you don't irritate your skin. Clean clothes are just as important as a clean body. That shirt you wore 3 days in a row without washing, you might think it's fine because it doesn't smell to you, but other people pick up on that faster. Wash your clothes regularly. Pay attention to your socks especially. Old, worn, or sweaty socks ruin the whole vibe. And please, match your socks and underwear with the rest of your outfit at least a little. It doesn't have to be fashion show level, but it should look like you thought about it. Your scent can be a huge plus if you do it right. Use a light fragrance or cologne, but do not drown in it. 1 or 2 sprays is plenty. The goal is that she smells it when she's close to you, not when you walk into the room. A good scent makes being close to you feel good and comfortable. A bad or overpowering scent does the opposite. Another thing nobody talks about is the smell of the spaces around you. Your room, your car, your bed. If you bring a girl back and your room smells like old laundry and food, that's not attractive. Wash your sheets regularly. Clean your room. Get rid of trash. Open the window now and then. Keep your bathroom clean too. A girl seeing a clean sink and toilet will never say anything, but it helps her feel safe and calm around you. All of this hygiene and grooming stuff isn't about perfection, it's about effort. When a girl notices you take care of yourself, she feels more comfortable being close to you. Physical closeness is a huge part of attraction, and you don't want anything about you to make her pull away mentally right when things could move forward. Speaking of closeness, let's move into physical touch before the kiss. Most guys skip this step or they only think about the kiss and everything after. But the build-up before the kiss is where a lot of the attraction grows. You can't just go from zero touch to a kiss out of nowhere and expect it to feel natural. That jump is too big for most girls. So here's how you handle it in a better way. First, you create the right setting. If you're in a loud group setting or standing in the middle of a crowd, it's awkward to suddenly try to get intimate. You want to find a spot where you can sit side by side or slightly angled toward each other. A quiet corner at a bar, a couch, a bench, anywhere that feels a bit separate from everyone else. When you're next to her, you start with small, casual contact. Maybe your arm touches hers as you both lean on the table. Maybe your knee brushes against hers and you don't move away immediately. You can make contact when you lean in to say something and your shoulder touches her shoulder. You're not gripping her or anything like that. You're just letting your bodies get used to being close. From there, you slowly increase it, but always pay attention to how she responds. If she leans in closer, keeps eye contact, smiles, touches you back, or doesn't move away when there's contact, those are good signs. If she pulls back, crosses her arms, angles her body away, or seems stiff, then you need to slow down, back off, and give it more time. Respect that. Pushing past that is not just bad game, it's wrong. If things feel natural and relaxed, you can add more intentional touch, lightly resting your hand on her knee or the side of her leg while you're talking, briefly touching her upper back when you stand up together or when you're leaning in to hear her. If she seems comfortable with that, you can keep your hand there a little longer. Sometimes just having your hand on the small of her back or her upper back while you're next to each other is enough to build a lot of physical tension. The main thing is that it should never feel sudden or forced. It should feel like a gradual shift from no contact to light contact to more intimate contact. And it should always be something she seems okay with. If you're ever unsure, you can stay at the lighter level of touch and focus more on your conversation and eye contact. Attraction is not a race. It's better to move slowly and have her feel safe than to rush and make her uncomfortable. Now, let's talk about the kiss itself. This is where a lot of guys get in their heads. They worry about technique, timing, everything. The truth is, the build-up matters as much as the actual kiss. One of the simplest ways to create that build-up is with your eye contact. There's a simple little trick people like to call triangular gazing. You don't need to label it in your head when you're doing it, but this is how it works. When you're close to her, you let your eyes switch between hers and her lips. You look into one eye, then the other, then briefly down at her mouth, then back to her eyes. You don't stare like a statue. You do it slowly, relaxed, with a small smile, and you keep talking in a calmer, slower tone. What this does is shift the energy from friendly to romantic. Looking at her lips signals interest in a kiss without you saying anything. She picks up on that. If she keeps holding eye contact and doesn't pull away, that's a strong sign she's open to it. If she moves back, looks away, or changes the topic quickly, then that's probably not the right moment, and you respect that and go back to normal conversation. When you finally go for the kiss, the biggest mistake is being too aggressive or too sloppy. You don't need to smash your face into hers. You move in slowly, give her time to meet you halfway, and start gently. Keep your lips soft. Don't shove your tongue in right away. Let the first few seconds be simple and calm. Match her pace. If she's kissing softly, stay with that. If she becomes more intense, you can follow that energy. Another powerful move is learning when to stop. Instead of dragging the first kiss on for 2 minutes straight, you can kiss her for around 10 to 15 seconds with good intensity, then be the one who slowly pulls back. You pause, you look at her, maybe smile, and you just let that moment hang there. That little pause makes the whole experience feel way more intense because it leaves her wanting more, instead of feeling like you tried to take everything at once. You can repeat this pattern. Kiss, pull back, talk a little, kiss again later. It creates a rhythm. You're showing you're not desperate for constant contact. You're in control of yourself and you're enjoying the moment, not rushing through it. That control is very attractive. It makes her feel like you know what you're doing. Also, remember practical things during a kiss. Tilt your head slightly so your noses don't crash. Breathe through your nose, not your mouth, so you're not gasping for air. Keep your hands engaged but not grabby. One hand on her waist, or her back, or lightly on the side of her face. You don't need to grab her all over the place. A few steady points of contact feel much better than frantic grabbing. Now let's move to something that messes guys up constantly: texting. You can do everything right in person and then completely kill the vibe with your phone. The way you text either builds tension or drains it. Most guys drain it without realizing it. Here's the truth. You need to stop texting in a way that looks like you're always available and always waiting for her messages. Responding instantly every single time, sending huge paragraphs when she sends short replies, double texting when she hasn't answered yet, all of that makes you look like you have nothing else going on. And if every conversation goes on until it dies out from boredom, you're not creating any mystery or anticipation. A simple rule that helps a lot is this: you end the conversation while it's still fun. When things are going well, she's sending laughing emojis, she's answering quickly, you have a good flow, that's actually a great time to stop and get back to your life. You don't need to announce you're leaving. You can just let it slow down and reply later, or send a last casual message and then leave it there. What this does is it leaves her with a good feeling attached to texting you. She puts her phone down thinking about the fun energy you brought, not scrolling through a dragged-out conversation that turned into dry small talk. It also shows you're not clinging to her attention. You have things to do. You have your own schedule. You're not building your day around your phone. That doesn't mean you play games with her and disappear every time things get good. If you overdo it, she'll think you're not actually interested or that you're trying too hard to be distant. The key is balance. Sometimes you keep a conversation going longer. Sometimes you end it earlier when it's at a high point. The pattern is that you're not always the one chasing more. You're letting her want more too. If she's the one reaching out a lot, that's a great sign. You don't have to ignore her. You can reply, but still keep your answers confident and relaxed. You don't need to send 3 messages in a row every time. You don't need to explain why you didn't reply for 40 minutes. You don't need to apologize for living your life. Just answer when you see it, keep it light, and save the deeper connection for when you meet in person. Also, pay attention to what you're actually texting. If every conversation is, "What are you doing?" "Nothing, you," "Nothing," it gets boring. Sprinkle in some actual personality. Talk about your day. Ask about hers in a real way. Tease a little bit in a playful, respectful way. Share something interesting you saw or did. Just don't turn texting into endless, low-energy chatting with no purpose. The point of texting is to keep the connection alive and set up the next time you see each other, not to replace real life with it. When you end a conversation at a high point and then you text her again the next day or later on, she's more likely to respond with good energy because you didn't drain her attention the last time. She'll be curious. She'll look forward to seeing your name pop up. And that's exactly what you want. You want her guessing a little, not because you're trying to manipulate her, but because you're not handing over all of your time and attention at once. If you combine all of this together, things start to shift. You treat her with quiet chivalry instead of trying to impress her with over-the-top niceness. You take hygiene and grooming seriously so she feels good getting close to you. You understand that physical touch builds up slowly and naturally before the kiss. You handle the kiss in a confident, controlled way that leaves her wanting more, not less. And you text with intention instead of just reacting. Most guys never adjust these things. They keep doing what feels automatic and then wonder why nothing changes. You don't have to be that guy. You can decide that from now on, you're going to pay attention to the details. You're going to move a little smarter. You're going to make small changes that over time completely change how girls experience you. And once you start doing this consistently, it stops feeling forced. Opening doors becomes normal. Smelling good becomes normal. Reading her body language becomes normal. Ending a text conversation at a high point feels natural because you actually have things going on in your life. You're not pretending to be confident, you actually become more confident because your actions are stronger. So if you listened all the way through, don't just nod and go back to doing what you always do. Pick one of these areas and fix it today. Maybe you start by tightening up your hygiene and your grooming. Maybe you focus on being more intentional with physical touch and paying attention to her reactions. Maybe you fix your texting habits and stop chasing every reply. Then you add the other parts in over time. That's how you go from "nothing is working" to "girls actually want to be around me."